small working class
Speak
town.
up a little bit.
Originally from Massachusetts, from a small working class town. We graduated 95% of our high school students. Now in Georgia, that would not be the norm. So my wife and I, at this point, we have no children. We may have children some days, and there's a lot of people in this room that are in that same situation. If we were to have children, they'd be entering the school system 6 to 7 years from today. With that in mind, what can be done to position Georgia 6 to 7 years from today that you could confidently see your child through Georgia public schools at the lowest common denominator? And the lowest common denominator are kids that are in the public schools that did not get into a charter school. How do we get that so the kids in public schools have a shot in working class communities at a 95% graduation rate?
Okay, that was a monologue, but complicated question. We'll go ahead and reverse the order again. Mary Kay, you can try to do a 30 to 45 second. It's a very complicated question, but I'll let you respond first.
Okay, graduation rates. We want to increase graduation rates in Georgia. How can we do it? Right now, the answer always seems to be with me, stop Common Core, because Common Core keeps us at one certain level, and maybe GPS was here, but now Common Core is down here. So if everyone has to be here, we have kids that are special needs. Their needs aren't getting met. They're not being instructed. They're not being tested where they need to be tested. Then we have kids who already know everything that's going to be on the test at the end of the year. I'm the school board of Fayette County. Most of our kids are high-achieving kids, and they're not being challenged with Common Core. So because our testing is all based on that, we don't have objective tests, and because we can't teach so that they will be challenged, we're going to have an increased dropout rate unless we do something. This is 2 years already, the second year of implementation. If we don't do something, it's just going to go down.
Will that get us to 95% graduation rate in working class communities?
If we meet their needs, they will not drop out because they're being instructed where they need to be instructed, not just that 1% that's in the middle getting their needs met.
Nancy?
Again, money drives results. The money, how we spend it, drives results. The good news is we don't have to reinvent the wheel because there are places that are doing far better than we are. Mary Kay's right. It's not about Common Core. I don't like it. That's not going to drive results for anybody. It's not going to change anything. But how we spend our money will. We continue to subsidize failure, like in DeKalb County, here's your money, here's your check from the state, constantly, here's that, and we demand no result for that. We must stop that. We must just stop subsidizing failure. We have to reward performance, and we have to absolutely eliminate subsidizing failure. That will drive results. We have to eliminate subsidizing bad administrative choices, okay? And I talk a little bit about relevancy on my website, and that's another driver. We have just decimated the on-ramp into middle class for our kids, and that's what we're seeing is the symptom we're seeing is this low graduation rate because they're not seeing the relevance to staying in school and being able to live a middle class lifestyle. Okay, there's just no hope. They've lost hope. Education isn't relevant. So that's a component. But we have to hold the adults accountable for that, okay? And that is what we have to do by driving the money to the classroom and giving kids, parents and families choices, holding bureaucrats accountable. They're doing this in other states. They're doing it in Tennessee and Texas. They have over 87% graduation rate, calculated the exact same way. So they're getting serious. We've got to get serious, and they're spending less money to do it.
Fitz?
I will tell you, as a parent myself, first thing I would do, and my advice to you is you stay on top of your child, time it is born, until the time it is ready to go to kindergarten. Everything, and make sure that your child is prepared when it reaches kindergarten. I can assure you, you will have a 100% graduation rate if you stay on top of that child at the time of graduating. Now, is that realistic? For parents, it can be. Okay? It can be very difficult, but we don't all have parents. Okay? Some of us have guardians. Some of us have aunts and uncles. Okay, so we've got to figure out a way how do I capture those folks? Okay, and I'm with you. I'm one of those ones that's I'm not on the high achieving end. I'm kind of middle of the road. I worked very hard to attain my education. My parents oversaw my education, were on me every day to make sure that I was getting my schoolwork. And so I try to translate that straight into our communities. You know, again, getting the parents and our guardians, and going over to the business community. And like I said, it's not all about money, but the business communities can get involved and form partnerships with these districts as well. And what's an example of that? Example is, you know, over there in I don't want to go too long, but very quickly is there are other things we got to understand. Not every child is going to want to go to college after they're done with high school. Okay, so I've got to have some alternatives for the children that don't want to go on to college, but I want to make sure that they've met these standards, rigorous standards that we're going to set, so that when they're ready to go out into the world to go to work or to go to tech school, they're prepared to do that. And again, we've got to have opportunities for them in high school, so that they're ready to do that when they get out. So you know, those are the things that I would tell you that I would try to work on to make sure that every child that we have, we'd 100%. Boy, if we can get to 95%, I tell you, we'd be cheering on
Matt?
Honestly, I think it'd be disingenuous if any of us up here said, you know, in a certain set period of time, we're going to get to 95%. I mean, I think that's an amazing goal. We should, 100% should be the goal. But, you know, the kind of school that you described is the kind of school that my kids go to. I have a daughter that's a freshman in high school. It's just a regular, good public high school. My son's in a regular middle school, and I have a daughter, or my youngest daughter is in elementary school. But you know, it's my wife and I's responsibility to make sure that those three kids graduate. We can't legislate that from Atlanta. We can't spend enough money to make that happen. And anybody that tells you otherwise is just, they're just not being honest. But what I can tell you is we have to do more, and Fitz touched on this, to make sure that we're providing opportunities for kids. I mean, one of the things that we're doing in Bartow County is we've just opened up a college and career academy. 25% of our kids are leaving our high schools. They're not going to go into the military. They're not going to go to a technical school. They're not going to go on to college. They're going out into the workplace with no marketable skill. We have to change that. And I think until we change that and have the opportunity to catch those kids that last time that we have them before they graduate high school, we have to send those kids out with a marketable skill. And I think, you know, what we're not doing is we're not touching those kids who aren't interested. All they hear a lot of time is go to college, go to college, go to college. They have no intention of doing that, so they quit and go find a job. You know, I think if we work with those kids, get them in a technical program that will allow them to have good employment when they leave high school, we'll retain those kids, and that will do more than anything to help our graduation rate go up.
Kira?
I'm gonna stand up this time. Okay, so we've heard, you know, we've talked about the money, and I think your biggest question is how in a working class community can we afford that 95% graduation rate? And I think that actually it's not as hard as it seems. What we offer is school choice. What we do is take our career technology, agricultural engineering, and put those specialties in specific schools. We have become, our schools are jacks of all trades, masters of none. Everybody learns the same thing. If we offer that school choice and have automotive at this school, engineering at this school, HVAC at this school, foods and nutrition at this school, then what we can do is afford our students the ability to leave high school with a certificated career. They leave, they go. What we've done, you know, kids are saying, you know, it's too hard. And the military doesn't even take a GED anymore. We have got to allow these kids their high school diploma. We owe it to them. And giving them school choice and giving them opportunities to go to specialty schools, whatever they are, would be the best bet. And I think if we drive that interest and drive that passion, we can get that 95% graduation rate, because we're not expecting them all to go to university. We're expecting them to be productive citizens.
Is it realistic to expect that school choice can work with less than a 30-minute commute?
We've seen it done in Colorado, where there's a 6-mile sort of route that goes around, and it's almost like a MARTA. You know, for rural schools, it is very tricky, but it can be done. Yes, it will cost some money, because buses cost money, but like you said, some parents can't take their children. However, I think the opportunity, just because it's a roadblock, doesn't mean that we need to met it out.